across the field, I just spotted a pretty nice buck chasing a doe. I don't think it's the one that I'm after. He looked a little bit smaller, like a tighter 8-point. But I got these does in here milling around. I'm gonna get a crack at something, I guarantee that. I heard grunting in this bedding area long before first light, so they're in there. just saw a big 8. Not a shooter though. Part of me feels like I should rattle, but then the other part of me thinks I should just sit tight and eventually I'm gonna get a shot. He's coming this way. He's out in this field. Okay, he just jumped the fence. I hit him too far back. Alright, so here's the update. I've been seeing glimpses of that buck walking around in the bedding area. He's moving real slow, but he's moving. Last I saw him, he was heading to the river, which, in my opinion, is a good sign. I really don't know what to think, because if I gut shot him, usually they bed down right away. It definitely seemed like it. He kind of hunched up a little bit. But I really don't know. And then he bounded off 10 yards. And I was trying to get arrow on and get it ranged, and he walked into the cover. So unfortunately, I didn't get another arrow in him. I replayed the footage on all 3 of my cameras, and not on a single one did I get the impact. So that's a real bummer. But my plan is to basically sit here all day, regardless. If I can get a crack at that 10 too. I got 2 tags, so there's another good buck in the area at least, and some other good ones that I know about. But I'll probably get down like an hour before dark and try to find my arrow. I can't see it in the ground, and then make a decision based off of that. I think he's gonna die regardless, but obviously I feel terrible that the shot was less than optimal. I normally try to pull down my face mask when I shot, but he was so close, and I got the full draw before I remembered, and I just don't think I set my kisser button in right and my anchor points. And on top of that, I was shaking really bad. I was fired up. That was a crazy morning. And I still got deer out here feeding. I'm gonna learn from previous mistakes and not push him. I'm gonna give him as long. I might even wait till tomorrow, depending on what I find on the arrow. But we're pretty close to the north property line, and I'm afraid he's gonna run across the road into the swamp. I was hoping he would just bed right in there and tip over, but apparently that hasn't happened yet. He's a great buck. I'm really, really excited. I really hope things work out. I'd much rather make videos of deer going down in sight. That's a lot more fun. I'm glassing down here at the arrow. And there's white belly hair, which is expected because it was a pretty steep angle. But it looks like there's blood on the fletchings. It's kind of hard to tell because it's really hard lighting, and it's facing directly away from me, so I can't see the whole fletching. But it looks like it's red with blood, and I can also definitely see blood on the grass around it. So all signs point to a dead deer. I'm gonna be super patient, but I'm going to recover this deer. So it's been 2.5 hours. And I'm pretty sure, I just saw a buck, and I'm pretty sure it was the one I shot. Right down here along the river. I just saw him for a split second, so I couldn't really tell what type of condition he was in. It's a little concerning because I figured if I got shot him, he'd be laying down. The good news is he's going the opposite direction from the neighbors. I really want to get down and check my arrow. If he's not bedding back up towards where my car's parked, I'll be able to get it out a lot easier without bumping him, so that's good. Alright, so here's the update. I climbed down, snuck over to the arrow, and was pleasantly surprised because the arrow did not smell like guts at all. It was absolutely coated with blood from end to end, but it was like dark, what you'd expect from a liver hit. And I gotta say, with those new arrows I built and the fast bow and heavy poundage that I have, I literally needed 2 hands to pull that thing out of the ground. I went back and reviewed the footage. I did not get the shot on camera, and unfortunately the little bit of video I do have of the deer after the shot, you can't really tell what's going on or whether there's an exit hole or anything like that. But between the arrow and all the signs at that points too, I sent out pictures and video clips to my trusted hunting circle, and everybody thinks it's a liver hit and 8-hour wait time, and it's been about 7.5 right now. I am concerned about jumping him. That's a huge concern of mine because I think if I push him, there's a good chance I'll lose him. Whereas right now, if he's dead anywhere on the property, it's not very tough this time of year to find him grid searching. And I am concerned that I saw him 3 hours after the hit, moving around. So I'm just gonna sit tight for a minute, probably another 20-30 minutes, pack up my stuff, and then climb down. And not super sure what I'm gonna do after that.
Alright, so just got back out here. It's the next day. After sneaking in and doing some glassing last night, I decided it's best just to back out. I really not sure exactly where I hit him or what I hit. So decided just to play it safe because I didn't want to push him out of where I hopefully think he is. So we're back in here and gonna get after it. I think it's open enough where I think we should be able to see him if we just sneak in there. But guess we'll see. I got Lindsay with me. Hopefully we'll be walking out of here with a buck. Alright, so we're sneaking up here. This is where I was glassing last night and I saw a bunch of deer pouring out of these bedding areas. And that's when I decided not to look any further and just bail and come back today. So last I saw him was across the river and he was right over on the other side of this thicket. So hoping that we can just look under all these trees and this thick stuff and hopefully just find him laying there dead. Alright, so we got to the point. This is where I saw him last across the river. So I was sitting in a tree all the way on the other side of this and I could see him on the other side of the river kind of walking up this way. So hoping he bedded down and expired and we'll walk up on him because it's pretty easy to see under all the bramble and stuff in here. So here we go. Found this fence crossing right here with blood and she's like, well, why don't you just climb down here and see if he's laying here. And I'm looking for blood. Look down into the creek bank and he's laying right there. And the best part about it is he's been in this cold water, so as warm as it's been, I guarantee the meat's still just fine. So here, come over. Yeah, I'm so jacked. Give me a high five. And then keep that thing rolling. I gotta send it out to the crew. So he must not have went too much farther. He's been dead a long time. He is stiff as a board. I can't even bend his neck up. Man, he's got these 2 points right here. That's cool. I didn't even see that. Oh man, I am so excited. So here's the exit, which is a little bit further back than I thought. Well, not really. Trying to find the whole hair's all mad. I can hear it. Yeah, so it's right here. So definitely a little far back. Alright guys, here he is. I shot him yesterday, November 8th in the morning. Shot was less than ideal, hit him a little bit far back. I think up and down was good, but the way he reacted was of a gut shot. So I basically sat in my stand all day long since I have 2 tags anyways. But I actually saw him 3 hours after I hit him on the other side of the river right over here, which was extremely concerning to me because I figured he'd be bedded down and dying by then. So I basically elected to let him lay overnight because the worst thing in the world is bumping a deer and not being able to recover it at all. And Lindsay and I came in here today and I was getting pretty discouraged because we walked through all the bedding where I figured he was and there was no sign of him. And went back, backtracked, found the fence crossing to the river. Lindsay spotted a little bit of blood, so huge part by her. And I jumped over the fence, looked down in the river, and there he was. So I couldn't be more ecstatic. This is my biggest buck to date. He's a sweet 8-point with these 2 little kickers on the base, but his left side's all palmated and really cool. And just a really happy finish to this story. I was getting pretty bummed after losing a couple deer last year. I did not want it to happen again, so that's why I was super conservative. I made sure not to push them. There was no rain in the forecast. I actually called a couple people with dogs and they said as dry as it has been and as long as I waited, the dogs wouldn't be able to find it, which was kind of a shocker to me. But I brought my tracking dog Lindsay, not actually a dog, girlfriend, and we found it pretty quickly here. So what we're gonna do is float it down the river and get closer to where we can drive to, and then get him taken care of. But the other plus is that he's been in this cold river water, and yesterday was about 70 degrees. It did get down into the low 40s last night, but I'm thinking the meat's gonna be just fine after being in the water all night. And obviously the coyotes didn't get to him, so I'm super excited. But man, what a cool buck, and I couldn't be more excited. So happy to finally be able to wrap a tag around a nice Michigan buck. That'll do.